Everyone, welcome to the show. I have new polling data to share, and it is a lot more bad news for Donald Trump and his failing presidency. Before I get into all those numbers, though, please do me a huge favor. Click on the subscribe button below this video. It really helps to bring more awareness to this information. So, on to the numbers. And I do want to say before I dive into, I'm harping somewhat on the polling because it, as I've mentioned before, it sets up a permission structure for people to speak out. And we are seeing this happen more and more lately. We are seeing people who have large platforms, who have a lot of subscribers and viewers, and people who are that others look up to. You know, people with clout and celebrity in the MAGA universe, and they're finally speaking out against Trump. And they won't do that if they think that the whole nation is on his side and he's wildly popular. So that's what we saw right after he was elected, right after he won the election, and even up through, the first month of his presidency. So that's why this is important. So here's what's going on with the polling. So first up is a poll conducted by Navigator Research. They asked voters about the economy, and they found that a majority believe that we're already in a recession, which we are not. I believe the official definition is 2 consecutive quarters of contraction in the GDP. So we're not there yet, but we did just come off of our first quarter with GDP, recession activity, I guess you could call it, a contraction. So we'll see, if there's another one after the second quarter. Yeah, we are officially there. But 53% said yes, we're already in a recession. 47% said no. And when they asked voters to explain what emotions they're feeling in regard to politics, here's what they had to say. And I should point out, they were allowed to choose up to 5 of these feelings. So the number one answer was anxious. 50% of the respondents agreed with that. Number 2 was discouraged at 48%. And the third and fourth answers were exhausted and angry. Those both garnered 42%. So not exactly the emotions that you would hope for at the 100-day mark. This next one is very telling. So they asked people that took this poll, they asked the respondents about various topics and if they're concerned about these. So the number one concern remains the cost of groceries going up. 80% of the respondents are either very or somewhat worried about that. And even 65% of Republicans and 78% of independents were included in that number. Also, Trump's attempt to blame Biden for the economy is just not working. So check out this next graph. The overwhelming majority of respondents blame Trump for prices rising and for the stock market volatility. And check out what Republican pollster Frank Luntz told CNN in regard to their recent polling about Trump.
These numbers are significant and they are measurable. Those that came to him in the last few days or voted for him because they did not like the alternative, those are the people who are saying, I don't like this either. And that's what you're seeing in the polls. There's that group in the middle. They don't love Trump. They don't hate him. They just want a successful country. They want an easier lifestyle. They're looking at this and saying, it's not easier, it's tougher. This is not what I'm looking for. In fact, this is what I wanted to get away from.
So, yeah, I mean, he's right. There were a lot of people, swing voters especially, who just needed some financial relief. And they falsely believed all of Trump's BS about, I'm going to bring prices down on day one. How's that working out? End the war on day one, bring prices down on day one, hasn't done a damn thing. Well, I mean, the only way to actually do that, like immediately, quickly, the only way is to bring prices down is to crash the economy. So I guess we're on our way. There was also a PBS NPR Marist poll that was conducted. This was done at the end of April, and it shows Trump with a 42% approval rating, 53% disapproval. So those numbers represent a substantial shift since March. And here's the really dangerous news for Trump. If you look at the crosstabs, the Marist poll shows that his base is eroding. So only 40% of rural voters approve of Trump's job performance. 40%. That is a 19% decline since they conducted their last poll in February. So huge, huge shift away from him. And only 39% of all respondents approve of Trump's handling of the economy. And again, I will point this out ad nauseum. That was his best issue. The great businessman, the self-made billionaire who was handed $400 million by his daddy. And when they asked people to grade Trump, a plurality of 45% gave him an F. There was another 5,000 person survey, which is larger than normal. Mostly they're typically like around 1,500 people, 2,000 people. So this one was 5,000. This was done by PRRI. And they found that 52% of Americans agree with the statement that Trump is a dangerous dictator whose power should be limited before he destroys American democracy. That was their statement, and 52% of the respondents said, yeah, I agree with that. And 78% of the respondents disagreed with the idea of Trump ignoring Congress and the Supreme Court. So they specifically said, if these groups, if the Supreme Court, if Congress tries to kind of rein him in, put guardrails around him, are you okay with him just flouting those decisions and just running roughshod and doing whatever the hell he wants? 78% said no, absolutely not. So that includes a lot of Republicans. Also, 89% agreed that no elected official, including the president, should be above the law. And here are some other reasons to be hopeful. So 8% of Trump voters regret their votes in 2024, as do 15% of Americans who voted for a third party. So pretty big numbers. And 31% of the respondents who didn't vote in 2024 regret not voting. So of the respondents in this poll who did not vote in 2024, 31% said, I regret that decision. So definitely things like this could change the midterms. It could change the future elections for the better. Also, they found that the vast majority of Americans prefer to live in a nation with diverse religious beliefs and diverse ethnicities. That really shocked me. 70% agreed on the religion question, and 80% agreed that they prefer to live in the U.S. and as it is, made up of, I should say, people all over the world. 73% of Republicans agreed with that. So, not what you would expect. And then an Atlanta Journal-Constitution poll was also released last week. This poll included only Georgia voters. So 55% of these Georgia voters disapprove of Trump's second term. Only 43% approve. Remember, Georgia was one of the states that flipped back to Trump after going for Biden. And he won pretty comfortably in that state. So he's now already 12% upside down in approval. When they were asked about key issues, the majority also disapproved of various issues that Trump is handling. 55% disapprove of his handling of the economy. That is a complete flip flop because when the Atlanta Journal Constitution, when they conducted their poll before Trump took office, so in late June or January, excuse me, at that time, 56% approved of Trump's handling of the economy. They believed, I should say, that he would improve the economy by becoming the president. But still, a lot of his voters, as I've mentioned before, they're willing to give him more time. So there was a Georgia man that they spoke with named Clint Myers. He told the Atlanta Journal Constitution that he, quote unquote, begrudgingly voted for Trump. And he said, quote, his record so far is complicated. Some of it is good. Some of it is bad. I'm still glad I backed him. I'm not second guessing him, but I'm not a fan of the man. Myers admitted, though, that Trump's tariffs are directly affecting him and his family. He said that they've canceled subscription services, they've canceled summer vacation plans that they had, and he said that his family is looking for other ways to cut back. So, sounds great, Myers. Yeah, sounds like what you voted for, right? How's that working out for you? So, as with the other poll, though, there is reason to hope because 82% of the AJC respondents said Trump should obey federal court orders. So, he's taking a big risk by just thumbing his nose at these courts. And that number, I should point out, that included 2/3 of the people who voted for Trump. He's throwing away the opportunity that some people gave him against their own best judgment. People who reluctantly voted for him based on the economy, and now they're seeing him just violate the Constitution. And then in regard to immigration, 52% of these Atlanta Journal Constitution respondents disagree with Trump's immigration policy. So again, he is losing ground on every single issue. I also have good news to share about some shifting state polls. So Newsweek, they publish this really cool interactive map. It's not their map. They get it from a company called Civics, spelled with a Q. But it shows Trump's approval rating in each state and how it's changed. I've shared these with you before. So there were some really surprising changes. So check out Florida. In January, for those on the podcast, Trump had a +8 approval rating in Florida. He is now down -1. He has lost 9 points in Florida. Florida, you guys. Florida, y'all. Margaritaville. He is down. Trump down. Get down. Get in the chopper. Anyway, that is my best Arnold Schwarzenegger impression. All right. Anyway, back to the polling. Texas is also really bad. In January, Trump was at +3. He is now -2 in Texas, deep in the heart of Texas. In fact, he is down in every single state as compared to January. So even the states where he is still above water, where he's still popular, he's lost some support there. He's lost support since he took office. Case in point, look at this. Look at Ohio. Trump is still above water, but he's now above water only by 2 points. He's lost 5% of his support in Ohio since January, the very red ruby state of Ohio. And notably, he is underwater in all 6 of the critical swing states that he flipped in 2024. So that would be Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. All the states he flipped away from Biden and won in 2024, he is now underwater in every single one of those. Not like he just lost ground, but they still are positive about him. No, he has a negative approval rating in every single one of those states. So it is shifting. It is shifting fast, and in a good way for us, a very negative way for Trump. And again, this sets up a permission structure. This allows people in his own party to speak out, to vote against him and what he wants, to buck his ideas, to stand up and speak the truth. And we are seeing it. So this is a very good thing. So anyway, guys, I will let you know if I hear any more. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.